Tonight on Chronicle, how the man they call the Bone Finder uses ground-penetrating radar to uncover lost graves.
I've been called the Grave Whisperer. I've been called, the Indiana Jones of cemeteries.
First up, when they needed to find a woolly mammoth trapped in the ice of Siberia, they used it. When they needed to locate a hidden time capsule somewhere in the Brooklyn Library in New York, they used it.
We are talking about something called ground-penetrating radar, and a Nashville company is at the forefront of this technology.
Yeah, and one local man has turned that technology into a rather unique business that have some calling him the Bone Finder.
They'll walk by and they'll see me out here, and they'll just drive in and say, "Hey, what's going on? What are you doing?"
This is Robert Perry. He's an expert at looking for dead people.
I've been called the Grave Whisperer. I've been called, the Indiana Jones of cemeteries.
It may seem like an unusual job in a cemetery, right? But this Litchfield man is using modern technology attached to a converted baby stroller to find unmarked burial sites beneath the ground.
So there's 3 bodies right here?
They're buried on top of each other.
If you're wondering how this Vietnam vet ended up scanning cemeteries for a living, we did too. Years ago, Robert used his background in technical drawing to draw modern maps of cemeteries. But he realized many burial sites were not in the records. So he thought,
let me see if I could find any additional equipment around that I could scan the ground and look for burials. And lo and behold, yeah, it was called ground penetrating radar.
using similar technology to flight radar, GPR, or ground-penetrating radar, bounces signals off objects underneath the ground. And this screen will show them 10, 20, even 30 feet down.
These are unmarked burials. This is a group of burials right together. There's probably 2 or 3 of them in here.
Robert is often hired because decades-old record keeping is often wrong or missing.
A lot of times in cemeteries, what happens is that they sell a lot, they think the lot is open, and they go out and they put somebody in the ground, they find out that somebody's already buried there.
Robert will do a grid search of unmarked areas in cemeteries. The little upside-down U-shape on the screen is a hit, but it could be any number of things.
You could have a rock in the ground. It could be a pipe in the ground. It could be roots that are running in the ground.
Robert has scanned hundreds of cemeteries, and experience allows him to decipher the radar images between rocks and possible burial sites.
When we finally confirm that this is a unmarked burial, I'll call it a high probability of a burial, because you really don't know if it is a grave until you dig down.
While they will dig sometimes, often there is enough confidence in Robert and his GPR device they don't. That device Robert relies on, turns out it was made a few miles away in Nashua at a company that doesn't let solid earth stop them.
Well, it's making the invisible visible.
Chris Hakati heads up GSSI, or Geophysical Survey Systems, Inc., created by engineers in the 70s who
discovered a technique to send radio waves into the earth and look at the reflections and interpret those reflections to gather information about what was below the surface.
The simple devices have evolved over the years into portable, light, and powerful radar devices that are being used all over the world. One of the most common uses, looking inside concrete on construction sites to find flaws.
In a construction environment, you may need to dig a hole where there might be utility pipes or something underground. Again, you would want to know what's there before you put the backhoe or the shovel into the ground.
Another common use for GSSI devices, searching underground or inside walls at archaeological sites.
It's not really a digital trowel, but it's close.
Peter Leach is the archaeological specialist for GSSI. He says using multiple scans from above, they can create 3D images of what's underneath the ground at a potential historical site.
And then we can slice down through it as though we were just taking a backhoe and stripping off soil layers and look at where all of the old outbuildings were, where the well was, where the driveways were, all without using a shovel.
In fact, GSSI products have been used to find anything from a dinosaur to criminal evidence to people. Their latest ground radar product is designed to find survivors buried in rubble after a disaster or attack. In fact, their radar found a man buried for days in Haiti after an earthquake.
We can put our system on top of the pile and detect through many layers of concrete to see if there's anybody breathing, still living underneath.
But Robert uses his GSSI device to find the dead. In fact, he joined forces with his son Jesse to help keep up with the work. Their company, Topographics, visits cemeteries to not only find unmarked graves, but create modern mapping using a robotic survey tool.
A lot of cemeteries will have a lot of old maps, and they want more modern maps, and they want something that they can have on their computers.
Do you ever feel weird walking on top of dead bodies?
Yeah.
The company travels the country surveying cemeteries, even uncovering previously unknown mass burials. And in one Georgia cemetery, Robert says he saw a ghostly image.
Once you see a ghost, you leave.
That was it. So I'm a believer. I wasn't a believer until that point.
But his most interesting find came while doing a survey and dig in Manchester in 2010, looking for possible graves. It prompted a call to police.
The process of scanning this, I come across the ground and I pulled up out of the ground a World War II hand grenade.
He thought it was fake, but just in case, the bomb squad was called in.
Once I removed the hand grenade, I was told later on that it was still active.
Even though he's known as the bone finder, it was proof that what you find beneath is always a mystery. But thanks to modern technology, what is buried is no longer hidden from seeing eyes.